We are getting pretty full with my log supply, which is a good sign. My production's still a little slow because of the bird situation, but I've had another call from a logger and he's got a load of logs, so we're putting it in a different spot. Here he is. His name is Brock, and this is a load of mostly maple, which I like. There's some cherry, some hickory, but they all look to be the size that I'm looking for, guys. And Brock is a sole proprietor, one-man show. He does everything from the work in the forest to driving his truck. And this job, believe it or not, was just right up the road from me. So this worked out great for him to bring these logs over here. These logs are the oaks. They were in my main pile, and I had pulled the oak out because we're gonna run all these at one time, but I have an abundance of oak right now. I need more of this type of wood. Maple, ash, cherry, beech, and we're gonna get these run through the machine. We are going to get these ran through the machine before anything else, because these will be our money maker this fall. So I've never had a transaction with Brock, but I'm just pointing out to you guys because, you know, we all know log hauler Jesse. Obviously his crane is in the front of the truck. In theory, you should get more wood off of his truck because you can have more overhang, but there are laws for these log trucks going up and down the road on how much can hang over the back. I think if you're ever looking to buy logs, you should maybe be wondering if the truck has the crane in the front or the back. So when Jesse's is in the back, you know, he's got to cut his shorter to get them to fit. There are some shorter logs in this. There's some maple, and there's an oak right on top, that little skinny log. I'll come around here and we'll get a better view of the truck. These largely look to be some nice logs, guys. They're straight. They're the species that I'm looking for. I like it. But here we go. We're starting to see the benefits of, I'm moving into the shade. We're starting to see the benefits of working out of this yard. I have the most logs in supply that I've ever had at one time, and I'm not full. I still got room to bring them in, and that's what we're seeing here. On top of everything else, the ground here is hard packed. Even if we do get some rain, which this has just been an unseasonably dry spring and summer, which is ironic because that was the reason I wanted to move up to a place like this was because of all the rain and all the mud. And now that I move here, it's all dried up. But I'll still take it. But these are the logs that I'm looking for, and when I'm complaining that I just don't have the supply to keep up with my sales, well, maybe this is a fix for that. And then I look at things in practical terms, guys. I'm paying rent for the first time, and I, don't want to pay rent, but it makes sense. There is an expectation that I can grow my sales much higher than what my rent is, just because I'm here. So this place is starting to make me money. I haven't sold the wood yet, but when I do, I'll be making my money. But from production, from the drying yard, and getting these logs in and getting them staged so that I can start making firewood, I'm liking this situation. All right, too much of me talking. Let's turn this camera around and we'll get a better look. This is not that much of a distance from here to the live deck. I think we're fine. I had always thought that I would be keeping these logs right over here. But for right now, I just want to leave this area open. I think that these logs were short enough where they would fit in this general area, and then leaving this open for the road. Maybe I got this first row a little bit too close, made this a little tight, but I'm liking this right now. I have the space, I'm not worried about that, and I really think I'll be going after these logs first because I have an abundance of cherry. The majority of all of this is cherry. I would like to get my maple split and stacked, so these will be the next ones to go on. So when you are looking at a log truck though, guys, you look for long logs. Okay, so those were some short ones that have just come off, but if you look, he does have them packed in pretty tight. So if you're thinking you're gonna lose on your yield, it's probably not going to be that much. He obviously took a lot of care when he loaded this truck to make sure he got the maximum amount of logs on it. The other things I'm looking at too, I don't see any mud on these. This has been the only log that I've seen that had moss on it, which I'm not really concerned about that either. These logs look like they had sat for a while, so they're not fresh cut, but obviously they weren't pulled out of the woods during all of that wet winter and spring that we had. So these sat. I see no mud, and I'm very excited about that as well. And just like that, we're done, guys. Okay guys, I want to introduce you to Brock Kuchar. He is a sole proprietor logger and log hauler. So this is, when I look at your operation, you're the operation.
One man
Do
job.
Everything. I met Brock at the Paul Bunyan show of all places, and but you live just down the road.
Yep.
And then you were doing a log job right up the road.
Yep.
So you're driving past here on your way home.
Right.
Yeah. So where did these, tell me about the logs here. What do we got going on here?
This came from, it's about 50,000 feet. Not a real big job. For me, it's a pretty big job, but just Forester marked it. It was a consultant job, and most of this is just all branches.
Yeah.
Because when I get done with the top, there's not much left at all. Clean up the woods real nice and get to utilize the top. So
right. So you're taking the main trunk to the market, to the mill.
Yep, to the wall. Yep.
And then part of where you're also making money is selling the firewood then.
Well, there's debate about whether you really make a lot of money on the firewood or not, because it takes so much time to get it out of the woods and clean it up and everything.
Right.
And it takes me typically about 3 days to put, 3 or 4 days, depending on the trees, to put a load of firewood together. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you don't have the crew that's out there cutting all these for you while you sit up in the air conditioning, right?
Yeah.
So Brock, you had told me too that you are currently an instructor on chainsaw safety. Is that right?
Correct.
Tell me about that.
I've been teaching for 2 different organizations since about 2007 or 07. For the Northeast Ohio Forestry Association, which is out of Canfield, and the Ohio Forestry Association, which is out of Zanesville.
Awesome.
And I teach all over the state. I've competed at the Paul Bunyan show and won that a couple times, and been to the Nationals a couple times.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm standing next to Chainsaw Royalty here. Here's what I think I could do. I could bring one of my chainsaws over here and you could saw up all my logs and I can watch.
There you go.
You see it?
That's what that's for over there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll put the Big Red machine to work. All right, so Brock, I know that you got another job you got to head off to, and I don't want to take up your time, but thanks for stopping out and bringing, that is a very nice looking load of logs. And I was telling our subscribers, you could tell you put a lot of care into it, just the way they were all loaded onto your truck. And
I try to keep the air pockets to a minimum.
Right. And when you mess with smaller logs like this, that's just extra time and extra work. Yeah. Right. Everyone, if you got a question or you want to say something to Brock, put it in the comments below. He's a subscriber to the channel. I'm sure he'd be happy to say hi back to you guys. So Brock, let's go ahead and tell everyone to have a
great day.
All right.